What it do? What's going on? How are you doing, guys? Let me get my timer together. Let me get my timer. Wait a minute, because I'm going to try and do this in 20 minutes. You hear me? You heard me? 20 minutes. Because I don't want to waste y'all's time. Get my drift? Yeah. So I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. I got a lot of notes. You know why I have a lot of notes for this particular chapter? Come here. Come here. Let me tell you. Come here. Come closer. I suck at tape. Yep. I don't know how to rap that well. So I probably fell asleep in that part of athletic training. So that's why I have incorporated so many videos for you to rely on, because ideally the only time I've used tape was to hold a pad or hold an object to the person, hold it together. And I've used tape for securing something to keep something in place. I have very little experience. I don't want to say none, but I have very little experience in taping someone due to an injury in terms of like maybe a sprained ankle, hyperextension, that type of ordeal. So these videos are there. They're so important to you. I can lecture it though, based off of the notes that I actually kept from years ago, as well as my experience working in fitness in terms of first aid is concerned. So yeah, don't beat me up. Don't beat me up too bad. And part of the reason why I don't know how to tape well is because if you guys had me in previous semesters, you know I don't like feet. And a lot of times, what is one of the things that you have to tape up? Feet. So, you got to know your strengths, and because of that, I don't tape well. However, I won't. That should not impede your process. Okay, I will put up as many videos as I can about taping, Kinese Tape or KT tape. Just so you can learn how to tape and learn, the effectiveness of it. Especially if if you are in a CPR course, your CPR course should do an overview on how to, bandage somebody in terms of first aid is concerned and when to apply pressure. But as I said, the reason why I'm not a fan of tape, I don't want to touch feet. So, but going right into it, okay, as I mentioned, taping is good for holding something in place. It's good for, of course, it's ideal for first aid in terms of keeping something together until medical professionals arrive. It does restrict angle of pull just so you can keep something in place or immobilized. Also, another thing that I did learn something in that course, that for some, it could be a psychological reset. There may not be a lot of injury there, but by taping that particular part of the body for the athlete, in their mind, it secures. It's almost a security to them that they're able to perform everything that they can in that particular sport. So good to know information, huh? Isn't it? Yes, it is. All right. So you got some tape selection. All right. So in my notes, okay, I do have a remind activity, and this is for 5 points. Okay. Another video posted later in this particular folder has another 5 points. So you have the opportunity to earn 10 points. Okay. 10 points. Don't miss out. All right. So according to my notes, linen tape being the most common form of tape selection. Okay. You might be able to find that in your first aid kit. You might be able to find that in when you're training in your first aid kit. That might be something you find with your strength and conditioning coaches. That might be something you'll find with your athletic trainers. Sometimes with your coaches too. Sometimes your coaches are able to tape or bandage an athlete. So and the rest are, just, based off of just preferences. Okay. KT tape or KT or Kinese tape is a unique type of tape. Okay. Now with Kinese tape, you may have seen a runner with it around their knees. Maybe you've seen someone wear it around their shoulder. Maybe you've seen someone wear it around their elbow. The purpose of Kinese tape is to allow range of motion. Okay. And the beauty to Kinese tape is that when you rub it, Okay, when you rub it, the adhesive warms up just to support that particular muscle. But ideally, it is generated to improve range of motion. You'll see that there's controversial literature relative to the effectiveness. I won't go into deeper detail about that, but there is literature that is kind of refuting that to determine, okay, well, what is making this effective or why this is effective. Now, what I do encourage you to do is that I do encourage you to do your own research on Kinese Tape. Okay. My youngest brother has worn it. I've personal trained individuals who are running, and they've used Kinese Tape based off of maybe a recommendation from a physical therapist. And that's totally fine. But I do encourage you to figure out, why is there so much controversy around Kinese Tape? I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything negative about it as far as the users, or as well as not personal trainers, but personal trainers and physical therapists. I haven't heard anything negative about it. So, like I said, definitely do your research. I'm not going to go too deep into its controversies. Okay. It's important to select the right tape, but you know what's more important? Select the right person. Okay. I joke, but I'm serious. Okay. The effectiveness of handling the tape is very critical and is based off of who is doing it. Okay. Now, almost always it's an athletic trainer, definitely a physician, definitely a nurse practitioner, but also, sometimes could be a strength and conditioning coach. But not everybody is fully aware of how to do it properly. So therefore, I encourage you to, watch the videos. Maybe I can incorporate a video of somebody else that I know that could do taping as far as injury is concerned. As I said, the only reason why I'm so skittish is because of the whole feet concept. So, but it's just a general overview of handling tape. Now you'll see here where it says tearing the tape is a skill. It sure is. So, because, you have to tear it a certain way for the tape to stay. And of course you don't want to twist, but as I said, handling tape, I think it just is dependent on the person and how well they do it. Now, if you ask me to tape you, I will tape you, but I'll tape you long enough to make sure we get you to a medical provider. Few things about the skin. Here comes the interesting part. Just use your imagery here and you'll see why I don't do feet. Okay. Skin's got to be clean and dry. Okay. And this is probably a traumatic event. I'm dealing with it. Bear with me. I'm still dealing with it. One of the things that we had to do in one of the practicum classes is that we had to go to and work with live athletes, football players. And of course, no disrespect to the football players. I love football players. You guys are great. But at the time, and this was a student who maybe had some rough feet. But anyway, I think this is an older student. At the time I was a sophomore. I think this student was a fifth year senior, and they were still playing just to meet, kind of the whole eligibility concept. And they took their shoe off and it was a rolled up sock from sweat. So you have to make sure the feet are dry. Okay. You have to make sure that you have no allergies, particularly to latex, as far as the athlete is concerned. As you can see, I kind of held my breath because I just going to let you do the rest, the imagery of the rest. You want to, here comes the dirt. You got to remove the dirt and you might have to shave them. And this was my downfall. The athlete had a big old bunion, green toenails, sweaty feet, and sweaty socks that peeled, and the foot was hairy. That was traumatic. I said no thanks. So I think in that particular practice, I think I got an F, and I gladly took that F, but I wish I didn't. Hindsight. So because I'd be able to know how to wrap better or tape better. As I said, I could keep it very practical, but I'll put more videos out there. But again, you got to make sure that the foot or whatever body part that you're taping is clean. Making sure that you remove the dirt. You do have to shave to some extent, especially if you're applying tape, for obvious reasons. You don't want to rip their hair off through the tape. and you want to make sure that you're applying tape in a smooth fashion. And I do joke a lot. I can apply tape, so I know the basic concepts, but I do know for sure one thing is that you want to make sure it is smooth. Okay, you don't want to make sure that there's no lumps or no air pockets or that type of thing. So you got to make sure that when you're applying tape, making sure that the skin is prepped just so the tape can go on smoothly. All right. So as I said earlier, varies considerably from athletic trainer to athletic trainer. That's where the AT to AT part is. All right. So me, considering that I did not go into the profession of athletic training, taping is not my wheelhouse. However, I know how to apply it in a applicable fashion for first aid, or applicable fashion to ensure something is in place. And that's not a bad thing. That's totally not a bad thing. But if you are considering going into athletic training and strength and conditioning, this is probably something you might want to consider as far as the standards and taping something to, in terms of making sure that that particular body part, heals properly. You reduce inflammation, you reduce swelling, that type of ordeal. So, if it doesn't work, try again. Just keep tearing until you try again. And I think I'll try a video for you guys. Don't let me forget. I think I'll upload a video on taping myself in terms of my hand, just so we can all practice together. And I'll figure that out a little bit later in the semester, just so we can all learn, right? All right. So as I said, with me not being the perfect taper, and, just side note, I think sometimes we think that professors are superhuman. No. I could tape you long enough to get you to the hospital. So, but these are different slides I want you to take advantage of reviewing in terms of how to tape different parts of the body. But what I will do is that I do have a Remind app activity for you, as I mentioned, in terms of the videos that I posted about taping. Okay, so I want you to watch the videos that I've incorporated in the Blackboard shell, and I want you to answer some questions for me. So write these down. Go ahead and grab a pen. Go ahead and grab a pencil. Grab a sheet of paper. I would say slice. It's just a sheet of paper. Go ahead and grab those things. I'm going to ask you these questions. Okay. Now, how you're going to answer them? You're going to answer them through the Remind app. Okay. That way we could get you some credit for your quiz. So I haven't decided yet whether I want to do 5 points on the quiz, 5 points on the test, but I will keep you posted. Participate either way. So first question. All right. So on the first video, okay, how many materials were used? I'm going to repeat that. How many materials were used? Okay. Second question. In the video, how did the physical therapist position the patient's elbow? Second video. How did the physical therapist position the patient's elbow? All right. And just simply answer this next question. Is it okay to touch the adhesive on KT or Kinese tape? Is it okay to touch the adhesive of KT or Kinese tape? Okay, so definitely send me those answers through the Remind app after you've watched this video and after you've gone through this particular PowerPoint. As I said, I'm going to keep it short and sweet, only because taping kind of brings me a grim reminder of feet. Woo. So, but again, we'll definitely conquer some fears together. Well, y'all probably not afraid of feet. I am. So we'll conquer that fear together, and we'll get more into taping soon. Okay. If you have any questions, as I said, let me know. Chat soon.